And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. I got to hold the mic kind of close to my face. The beard keeps getting in the way, and it muffles the mic. I think it's time to get like a stand-up mic. Can't clip it to the shirt anymore. The beard literally muffles it. I sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about something that Andrew Yang doesn't talk about enough, in my opinion. And I think he should speak on it more. And that's his Republican crossover appeal. You see, when Andrew Yang first started mentioning that, he would say he's one of two candidates to get at least 10% Republican crossover. That other candidate being Bernie Sanders. He's changed his lingo since then. He now says, I'm one of the only candidates to do that. And that's probably because he was giving Bernie Sanders shine at the same time. I mean, if you two have such similarities, why don't I just go for the Bernie Sanders? He ran in 2016. So he really needs to separate himself from Bernie. And this is one of the ways he's done that. He still says he has the Republican crossover, but now he says he's one of the only candidates, not one of two candidates.
Well, first, I am one of only two candidates in the Democratic field that 10% or more of Donald Trump voters said they would support. So if I am the Democratic nominee,
who was the other one?
We will win. You probably know, Crystal. Take a guess.
Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders. So it's me and Bernie as the only two candidates that 10% or more of Trump voters say they would support. And
Democratic voters and Democratic-leaning independents, 2/3. The main thing they want in a candidate is someone who can beat Donald Trump.
Yep. Yes, I'm one of only two candidates in the field that 10% or more of Donald Trump voters say that they would support.
Why is that?
It's because I'm focused on solving the problems that they see around them every day.
I'll say that. I've seen you go on like the Ben Shapiro's, and you're not scared of sitting down with anybody. And I have seen the most praise from hardcore Trump supporters that they would totally vote for you if it came down to it. And I find that really interesting.
Yeah, there's one poll that showed that I'm one of the only candidates in the field that 10% or more of Trump voters would vote for, which means when I am the nominee, we win the whole thing. It's just that Democrats haven't figured out that I'm as sure a bet to beat Trump as we have.
Right out of left field, Andrew Yang is drawing new support from an unlikely group, Trump supporters.
I voted for Trump in 2016, and honestly, I'll probably vote for him again if Yang doesn't make it through.
New Hampshire voter Anthony Hegstrom is one of several Trump supporters who have shown up to his New Hampshire rallies, now considering themselves part of the Yang gang, many feeling disenchanted with the rest of the Democratic ticket.
A lot of what's there right now is way too far left, or it's too typical mainstream. Biden's just the same old story, and I voted for Trump to say, for the idea of it's something different.
Yang actually spoke on this on a Showtime show called The Circus. This is actually a bonus clip from that show. I'm going to play it right now for you guys, but listen to what he says about the Republican crossover, and listen to the confidence he has. Yang is pretty confident that he will be the next president of the United States, and I like that swag he's got. I like that energy. He needs to keep that momentum the whole way through. Keep that energy. And just listen to the tidbits he has to say on this show called The Circus.
You guys actually have quite a bit of momentum given the general dismissal of this campaign in the national
and you
media.
haven't seen anything yet, Alex, because everything we've done, I'm an entrepreneur and operator, we have done everything on the cheap. But thanks to the Yang Gang, we raised $10 million last quarter, and you're going to see, after we have some resources to put to work, you're going to see us outperform the other campaigns and shock the world.
How does Joe Biden only have $9 million and you're raising millions of dollars? What is that math about?
Americans understand that we need to actually start solving the problems of the 21st century.
You think it's the whole thing of like the no tie, the real talk, like that's what people want?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a politician, and so the fact that people can sense that I'm just like them, I'm a parent, like I'm not someone who's made a career in politics, and my interest in making a career in politics is moderately low. I'm for term limits. I think the fact that people make a career out of being in DC is not good for the country.
If the Democratic primary in 2020 is similar to the Republican primary in 2016, it means that Andrew Yang is Donald Trump and will be the nominee.
Oh, well, Alex, one poll came out that said that I was one of the only candidates in the field that 10% or more of Donald Trump voters say they would support in the general. And the number one criteria that Democrats have for the nominee is beating Donald Trump. So when Dems realize that they have a candidate who can peel off hundreds of thousands of Trump voters and is one of the surest bets to beat him in 2020, that's when you'll see our poll numbers just climb and climb.
Do you think you're going to be the Democratic nominee?
Yeah, 100%.
What doubts do you have?
We have all of the pieces in place, and we've been doing everything on a shoestring this whole time. We're about to pour gas on the fire that is the Yang Gang.
Yeah, so I just feel like the whole Republican crossover thing is something that he should continue to talk about. If you've noticed recently, even in his ads, he doesn't speak on UBI as much as he used to. He's really been hammering on Medicare for All. Now, a lot of you know how I feel about the whole Medicare for All thing. I think if you're fine with Yang's version, that's great. He just needs to tread carefully. Medicare for All is an incredibly sensitive subject. And what people don't want to hear is, who came up with it first? Was it a guy in 2009? Was it somebody before we were born? They don't care about that. They care about now and who's advocating for it now and which version is going to be the best for them. Now, unfortunately, most people know about Bernie Sanders' version, so that's the version they're going to run off of. I know Nerds for Yang just responded to Tim Black recently, and though he brought up some good points, a lot of people don't want to hear that shit. A lot of people want to hear, I don't want medical bankruptcy, I want to keep my same doctor, and they don't like private insurance. Private insurance has been screwing us no lube, so we really just have to tread carefully. I see the vision Yang has, and I'm not saying his vision is wrong, and you can get people on board with that vision of his. He just needs to word everything carefully. When it comes to Medicare for All, be meticulous, because this is the number one priority of Americans at the moment is the health care system. So I just urge him to be carefully as far as Medicare for All goes. Now, universal basic income, everyone's on board with that. And that Republican crossover vote, you need to talk about that more. You need to talk about that more. When I actually talk about Yang, when I Yangify people, and I mention that he gets Trump voters to cross over, they love that. They love hearing that because, believe it or not, a lot of people don't like Trump. So when they hear that you can peel away from his current base, they love that. They love that. So I think he needs to be on he needs to bring that to the forefront a lot more often than he has been, because it's huge. It's huge. So when we're recruiting for Yang and trying to get people in the Yang gang and on board with Yang, that's one of the things we should bring up. We should absolutely bring up that Yang converts Republicans. As a matter of fact, that's one of my biggest videos to date, on my channel is Yang converts Republicans. People really wanted to see what that was about because it appeals to them. They're like, wait, this guy's a Democrat and he gets Republicans? What the hell? Ended up being Russell from Grassroots Yang Gang, but at the end of the day, he still converted a Republican. So I just wish Yang would speak on this more. I want to see it in every interview. I want to see an ad with that in there. Because it definitely appeals to people. And I think one of the biggest issues he has is not enough people knows who he is. It's still a huge issue. Because I think once they hear what Yang's about, hear who he is, they're going to be on board 9 times out of 10. His biggest issue is recognition. People need to know who he is. And the other thing is going back to the Tim Black thing, I've never been a Tim Black fan. I don't hate the guy or anything. He just never appealed to me. But that being said, most of the big YouTubers on the left aren't for Andrew Yang. Let's just be 100% honest. I love The Hill Rising. I love Crystal. I love Cigar. But they like Yang, but they're not pushing for him to be POTUS. Kyle Kalinske likes Yang. He's not pushing for him to be POTUS. And I love me some Kyle Kalinske. David Pakman, all of them, Sam Cedar, they're not pushing for Yang. They like Yang, but they're not pushing for him, okay? They're all pushing for Bernie Sanders. That being said, you have to remain vigilant, right? Going in back and forths with them and trying to debate them, it's not going to work. So all you can do is hunker down and try to convince people on your end to go for Yang, because they have a massive audience, especially combined. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of crossover audience, but you have to go to like your local grocery stores, and I mean, a lot of people can't talk about politics at work, but just in areas and places around you, and bring up the conversation. It won't hurt. Well, it could hurt. Some people look at politics like religion. Some people get really passionate about politics. It's kind of scary. But talk to people and do what you can do on your end to Yangify people. Because it's an uphill battle. I always say, and I said it when I was on the Nerds for Yang podcast, the biggest hurdle Andrew Yang has is through the primaries. It's not the general. If Andrew Yang gets to the general, he will sweep. Full stop. So, I see what everybody's doing, and I appreciate everybody pushing the Yang Gang. Keep that up and go even harder. Go even harder. Speaking of that, I am trying to raise $50,000 for Andrew Yang for the month of November. It's me, Nerds for Yang, and 11 other channels. I'm trying to raise $50K in the month of November for Andrew Yang. Now, the 2 channels that raise the most amount of money for Yang will get an exclusive interview with Andrew Yang. So if I was one of the channels, I'd interview Yang, and I'd take 6 questions from my audience to ask Andrew Yang. So I do sort of like a poll or something, and the 6 questions that make it, I'd ask Yang, and with the username, and I'd figure it out. But there is this Act Blue link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to Andrew Yang. Let's raise him that $50K. So what do you guys think? Do you think Yang should talk about that crossover vote he has? He really appeals to Republicans. He appeals to independents. And obviously he appeals to Democrats. And I think he should really hammer that home. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. Also, I have a PayPal link and a Venmo link in the description below. Feel free to donate to the channel if you want to help it grow. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.